I wanted to reassure you all that we're not just a one-club podcast. We're not all about Munich. We do cover every team in the Bundesliga and beyond. And proof of that, we're going to look at Dortmund. Yeah, this is an uplifting story. This is the Swede, Daniel Svensson. Daniel Svensson signs a definitive deal with BVB, with the Black and Yellows, to lock down his future. There you go. The young Swede. He's officially now a Borussia Dortmund player. For the foreseeable future, the BVB exercised their purchase option because he was on loan from his former side, FC, and I'm going to butcher it, FC Nordsjaelland? They're in Denmark anyway. So they exercised their option to buy, basically. Svensson started his Dortmund career as a cost-effective option, and again, when we talk about this a lot on this channel, on the German Football Spotlight channel, that it's Football Manager, right? It's that principle of business, of buy low, sell high. You know, send your scouts out around the world, attract the brightest, best wonder kids, train them up, send them out on loan, bring them back, give them regular first team, watch their performances and their value skyrocket, sell them on. Some clubs are perennial selling clubs. I'm not comfortable making that assertion about Dortmund. However, look at it the other way around. They found, well, it's FC Nordsjaelland that's been that selling club, and they've done really well out of it, because if you look at the price tag, it was 5.5 million. Here we go. We'll just come back to this uplifting story though. So again, Svensson came in as a cost-effective opportunity in the winter transfer window just gone in January 25. He came in as a backup option on the left for Rami Bensebaini. However, the Swede, clap it in, absolutely surpassed expectations and has become a key component under Niko Kovac and his brother Robert under their new scheme, and has become an unquestionable starter. Yeah, he's an unquestionable starter. He's one of the first names on the team sheet. And it's beautiful here. Look, this is an entire feature on the young Swede on Bundesliga.com, who is Sweden's international newly signed star at Borussia Dortmund. Again, he arrives from FC Nordsjaelland on loan during the winter break. Impressed. He's only 23, which is fantastic. And here's a great image of him there. Look, you know, Borussia Dortmund signed left back Daniel Svensson on a long-term deal. He's signed until June 2029 because BVB exercised a purchase option in his loan agreement. He's here to stay. There you are. That is brilliant. Clap that one in. Let's look at his stats again. He is, for Sweden at least, he's played at every single age group. Look, under 16, 17, 18, 19s, 21, and then for the adults team, the adults team has played one game, and that was last October. He's a defender, he's a left back. We've called that out already. This season in the Bundesliga, he's played 11 times. He's scored a goal. That goal, by the way, was a go-ahead goal. Well, there were 2-1 up. So that made it 3-1. That was against Gladbach at the Westfalenstadion. So 11 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists. Has played 4 times in the Champions League, so he's getting experience all the time. And then prior to that, again, he was playing in Denmark in the Superliga and then the Oddset Pokalen. That sounds beautiful, doesn't it? That's the Danish Cup. So plenty of experience. This season played 34 times, 1 goal, 4 assists. That's really encouraging. And then we can have a look at him on whoscored.com. Confirmation here then of what he offers defensively. You can expect per game 1.1 tackles, 0.4 interceptions, 2 clearances, and then going forward, 0.1 dribbles, 0.7 key passes, 0.5 crosses, and let's look at it as under 7 as a rating. Anyway, still got a long way to go, but yeah, bright future ahead of him. That's Daniel Svensson, and then confirmation here that you can see that he plays on the left. This was the game that effectively dethroned Leverkusen as Bundesliga champions. This was last Sunday. This was match day 33. Xabi Alonso's last home game, by the way, and also Jonathan Tah's last home game at the Bayer Arena at the work self. Yeah, Daniel Svensson, look, play on the left. There's Rami Bensebaini, who had played a lot of his games this season at left back, but of course Kovac has come in, he's switched it around to a back three, and Bensebaini looks quite comfortable. And Dortmund, as you can see, have gone on a 5 straight game winning streak, and that means they are, in terms of form, look at that, last 3 games, they are one of the form teams in the Bundesliga. Played 3, won 3, scored 11 times as well, which is brilliant. And then we jump around to another, because we're on Dortmund, another transfer story. This is with bvbuzz.com. Tottenham's Mickey Moore is on BVB's list for the summer. Spurs wonder kid is on Borussia Dortmund's radar for next season. Won't be an easy deal, though, for sporting director Sebastian Kehl, former player, to pull off. Mickey Moore from Tottenham is on the shortlist for transfers. This is according to Florian Plettenberg. Here he is, look, Flettenberg, the Sky Sports correspondent that covers the Bundesliga, covers transfers, covers Munich. Borussia Dortmund have added Mickey Moore. He's 17. 17. What were you doing at 17? Wow. What year would that have been? 1998. Mickey Moore has been added to the shortlist. That's along with Juan Jimenez from Rosario Central. He's 19. Both players have been closely monitored. There has also been contact with the players' managements, but nothing is concrete. Mickey Moore, though, would prefer to stay in the Premier League. And again, if we look here, this is why they're interested, because Sebastian Kehl's looking for a productive summer, because Dortmund are competing alongside Munich or FC Bayern in the Club World Cup, because again, it's only 2 entries or 2 clubs per domestic country, per domestic league, are allowed to compete in the Club World Cup, and that excitement begins on June 15th, and you can follow all those games. You can follow all the Club World Cup with us right here on the German Football Spotlight channel. So, please, if you could, subscribe would be wonderbar. Tell your friends as well, tell your classmates, tell your workmates, tell people in the bus queue, when you're buying groceries, when you're having a coffee, when you're playing football down the park, 5-a-side, 6-a-side, 11-a-side, doesn't matter. Get them all in. We'll look after them here. Anyway, you can follow the Club World Cup with us. We'll look after you. We always look after you. Mickey Moore then, yeah. According to Patrick Berger, I'm not sure if that is Liverpool Patrick Berger. We had some fun with that yesterday in a different video. The Black and Yellows are looking for 4 different positions to be filled because they're looking to reinforce their squad. They're going for a football manager rebuild. That includes a box-to-box midfielder, a number 10, we'll come on to Julian Brandt later, a centre-back and a backup striker. There you go. So that potentially, that we could be seeing Mickey Moore join the Black and Yellows. Can't see it though because he prefers to stay in the Premier League. And there's his stats, look, 17. Now, there's a €15 million valuation on his head. That's the English tax, isn't it? That's Premier League tax. Whereas if you compare that with someone like Daniel Svensson, who, where's it gone? He was signed for €5.5 million from Denmark. See? This is why a lot of these clubs are savvy. They scout in Scandinavia and in South America. You know, places like Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, Peru, Bolivia, Colombia. You know, because they can bring in players on the cheap, train them up, work on them, and then sell them on for profit. Again, that's number one, isn't it? That is business. Anyway, Mickey Moore, 17, left winger. Current value, estimated market value is 15 million. This season, by the way, he has played for Tottenham. It's played 21 times, but really, let's focus on this. Look, 9 times in the Premier League, 1 assist, 5 times in the Europa League, which is invaluable experience, especially age 17. 1 goal in there as well, and an assist. And he's played a couple of games in the FA Cup and the EFL Cup, the Caribou Cup. We love the Caribou Cup here. Please, at one day, along with One Football, the streaming service, let's get some corporate partnerships going. Anyway, so technically then, he's got some experience. You know, there's only a couple of games left in the Premier League this year. It's been a disastrous season for G'day, mate, which sounds slightly Batman, innit? Slightly Michael Keaton as Batman. Ange Postecoglou. It's not really worked out for Big Ange, has it? But anyway, there's Mickey Moore. 9 appearances, 1 assist in the Premier League in the UK. Is he going to move to Dortmund? We'll have to wait and see. What do you think? Should Tottenham sell Mickey Moore to Dortmund? Or put another way, rewind. Should Dortmund go after Mickey Moore? Let us know in the comment section down below. Always interested in your thoughts. And then there's this other story that's just broke, which is about Ritsu Doan. Now, we love talking about this guy, the Japanese winger. Borussia Dortmund joined race for Freiburg's Ritsu Doan, but face stiff competition from Bundesliga rivals for the highly rated winger. Borussia Dortmund have joined Frankfurt, the Adler, and the Eagles, Old Attila, in the race to sign the high-flying Japanese winger Ritsu Doan. And he's had a fantastic season, by the way. Let's just take a look at him. Here's Ritsu Doan. So his current market value is 22 million euros. This season, by the way, 33 appearances. So he's played every single game, every single Bundesliga game for Freiburg. 9 personal goals, 8 assists. So that's 17 goal involvements. And you combine that with the old stalwart Italian Vincenzo Grifo. It's like 35, 36 goal involvements between those 2 players. Clap that in. That is worth clapping in. Anyway, yeah, 33 games, 9 goals, 8 assists. Japanese right winger, bags and bags of national team experience for Japan. Look, 57 times, 10 goals. He's had an interesting journey in life. Look, from Gamba Osaka to Groningen in the Netherlands to PSV to Arminia Bielefeld, back to PSV because of a loan situation, and then ended up at Freiburg for 8.5 million euro, which seems like an absolute bargain. Actually, he's played 35 games because he's played 2 games in the DFB Pokal, and there was an assist. Who did they get knocked out by? Arminia Bielefeld. Arminia Bielefeld, a Liga 3 team, a Dritte Bundesliga team, are playing in the DFB Pokal Cup final against VfB Stuttgart. And we're going to follow it. We're going to make a prediction. We're going to follow that game. We're going to give you a reaction. All right here on the German Football Spotlight channel. So make sure to subscribe, but like first, subscribe and tell your friends because you can join that. That final, by the way, taking place in Berlin. Take my breath away. Can we get done for that, Gonzo? Yeah, we keep talking about that. We have to be... I mean, it's not actual music, is it? So it's not copyrighted. It's just a really rusty, crusty impression. Anyway, DFB Pokal final, May 24th in Berlin. Arminia Bielefeld, Liga 3 side, Dritte League side taking on Stuttgart. Follow it with us. And then there's this other rumour as well that Dortmund, this is BVB buzz. Dortmund interested in another Danish. Well, have they got any Danish players? They've got Daniel Svensson on the left. They've got Julian Ryerson, the Norwegian, on the right as a right back. Yeah, let's add in. Let's conquer Scandinavia. Just need a Finnish goalkeeper. Oh, interesting point there. Interesting thought experiment. That if Chelsea do indeed come in for Gregory Kerbel, 15 million euro valuation on his head, by the way, on the keeper, then maybe they could go and get Hedrecki from Leverkusen and just be Borussia Scandinavia. Silly idea. What do you think? Let me know. You know the drill. Let me know in the comment section down below. Anyway, Borussia Dortmund interested in Danish youngster. His name is a great name. Sounds like a Bond villain, doesn't it? Danish midfielder Victor Froholdt. He's become a transfer target for Dortmund as they look to go through their Football Manager-esque rebuild this summer. That's according to our man again, Florian Plettenberg. Froholdt currently plays a key role in Copenhagen's squad. He's one of several players that Dortmund are interested this summer. Victor Froholdt capped at all these levels, so similar to Daniel Svensson on the left back, who's played for all those different categories for Sweden. Well, this chap, Victor Froholdt, has played for Denmark under 16, 17, 18, 90s, and even has one cap for the senior, for the adults team for Denmark. Clap that in. Perhaps one of his most promising characteristics is his fitness. Yeah, you could argue that the Danish Superliga is nothing compared to the physicality of the Bundesliga. However, he's young, he's got it in him. And he's got all this experience as well, like not just played in the Danish Super League, but UEFA Conference League, qualifiers, championship rounds, and the UEFA Conference League proper. Let's have a look at him then. Victor Froholdt, just 19 years of age, 2 million valuation. See, compare that, look, to Mickey Moore. There's your English tax, your Premier League tax. Victor Froholdt, 2 million valuation for a 19-year-old who's playing central midfield. Actually, he's pretty versatile, look. This season, he's played 58 games. Wow, he's been busy, hasn't he? Mind you, he's played in a lot of competitions. Look, because again, it's one of those leagues very similar to Scotland, where the league is sort of broken up towards the end to add a bit more drama, a bit more excitement. They go into a championship round. Anyway, as you can see here, look. So 20 games in the Superliga, and it's broken down into the championship round, so that's 28. The Oddset Pokalen, beautiful name, for the Danish Cup. He's played in the Conference League. He's gone through qualifiers. What a man, honestly, yeah. 58 times, 22 as a central midfielder. Can also play on the right wing, also play on the left. What has he got as a foot? Obviously, he's got two left. He's got 2 feet, right? Because otherwise he'd be falling over himself. Victor Froholdt. Is it going to let me know if he's what footed he is? Is it going to tell me? Tell me. Right-footed. There you go. Sorry about that. Right, thanks for being patient. He's right-footed, so yeah, he's ideal to play like, a bit like a Serge Gnabry or a Kingsley Coman. Right-footed on the left wing. Brilliant. And then to finish us off, well, I suppose this season's nearly finished him off. Dortmund faced a tough question, a tough call around Julian Brandt. Because, again, Sebastian Kehl, sporting director, has made the observation that it's just not been the best season for Brandt. You know, they're number 10. They are looking at people like Ryan Cherky, who so are FC Bayern. Apparently Munich are looking at Ryan Cherky if they can't get hold of Florian Wirtz. Xavi Simons is an option as well for someone like Munich, or even for someone like Dortmund. It's a tough call they've got to make over Brandt's future, whether to keep him or sell him on. He's 28, 29 this year. What do they do? You know, this is a comment again. This is from Kehl. I'd rather keep him for another season, trust that this was simply a bad year, and invest whatever money we would spend on a number 10 elsewhere. We already need to buy one. That's a number 10. Do we leave ourselves in a position to buy in 2? That would be reckless. So what do? They're going to need some backups, right? Because, again, they're going through a rebuild. Yeah, interesting for Florian Brandt. And there's rumours here that is he going to end up at his hometown club of Werder Bremen? Look, Florian Plettenberg again. Werder are closely monitoring the situation of Julian Brandt. Nothing concrete, but Bremen are keeping tabs. Transfer seems unlikely because he's on a big salary. That might have put Arsenal off in the past, you know, especially under the professor. Arsene Wenger wasn't keen on breaking the wage structure for players. Anyway, Julian Brandt this season. See that? Okay, you can say it's been a bad year. They're still they're one game away, by the way, from ending up in the Champions League next season, right? One game away from ending up in the Champions League next season. Plus, they got to the quarter-final of the Champions League and did actually beat Barcelona in that second leg, 3-1 at home in the Westfalen Stadion. That's some achievement. All right, they wobbled, they let go of the previous manager. They brought in Nikola Kovac in January and he's absolutely turned things around. 5 straight wins. Again, clap that in for Nico and brother Robert. As for Julian Brandt, this season, 29 games, 5 goals, 9 assists. This is just in the Bundesliga alone. Champions League, 13 appearances, no goals, 5 assists. DFB Pokal, 2 appearances and 1 goal. So not a bad return this season for the attacking midfielder that has been playing as a number 10. His current market value is €25 million. We don't know what his wage demands or what his current wage is. And like I say, if you add up the contributions of Daniel Svensson, Julian Ryerson, and Julian Brandt, along with Serge Girassi up front, who's on 19 goals for the season, Dortmund, look at that. They've clawed their way to within a couple of points of being in the Champions League next season. So basically, Dortmund's last game of the season is they play Holstein Kiel, who have already gone down. They're already relegated. They can't even Kiel can't even finish in that 16th place, the playoff relegation place. That's beyond their grip. And then there's a straight shootout between Freiburg, who of course that's where Ritsu Doan currently plays. They're playing against Frankfurt. They also want Ritz and Doan. So there's a straight shootout between Freiburg, Frankfurt and Dortmund as to who ends up in the Champions League. It's really close up there, look. Only 3 points separating those 3 sides. And if Frankfurt beat Freiburg and Dortmund beat their game, then they would leapfrog Freiburg. A draw, though, guarantees Frankfurt to get the Champions League. Freiburg, similar for them, but that's assuming that Dortmund lose. It's going to be a tense match day 34. Anyway, Dortmund have got some new signings. They've pulled in this lad, Daniel Svensson, on a long-term loan. They're looking at Tottenham's Mickey Moore. They're looking at Ritsu Doan, the Japanese winger, who's having an incredible year. As are Freiburg, by the way. Wow. Daniel Svensson, everybody. What do you think about that then? What do you think about these signings or the potential signings on the radar for Dortmund? What do you think about Mickey Moore? What do you think about Victor Froholdt? What do you think about the future for Julian Brandt? Should he stay at Dortmund or should he look to move on to his hometown club of Werder Bremen? And what's your reaction to Daniel Svensson signing on a permanent basis? You know the drill, people. You know the drill. We keep it nice and simple here. Let us know in the comment section down below. And if you could, please go one further and subscribe. And then when you've got some idle time or you're just bursting with excitement like we are, tell your classmates, tell your workmates, tell your family, tell people. Just scream it out in the middle of the field. I love German Football Spotlight channel. We love Craig. I love Gonzo. Anyway, do what you can to support us. Thanks for this one. It means so much to me. We're going now. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.